All right, Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Dustin. If you didn't know, it's literally the name of my channel. This video, I'm going to review kind of my projects I did for the last year, the things I bought for the last year, and then after that, we're going to talk about what's coming up in 2025. At least what I think is coming up. Things tend to change, so we'll see how that goes. And then after that, I'm going to talk about why I haven't been making that many videos, and kind of talk about how that might change and how it might not change. It's not going to be a big part. It's not going to be too detailed, but it'll give you a brief overview of what I've been up to really the last year and a half-ish. Anyway, let's get into it. First things first, I started the year finishing up The Mask. This thing turned out awesome. Unfortunately, just a couple days ago, my cats knocked it off. They got into a fight and ran across my desk, and it took a tumble. And now I have little chipped paint spots in a few places here that I'm not real thrilled about, that I gotta go touch up. It actually took a second tumble because I wasn't home when this happened. And what I think happened is my fiance, found it. She did find it, and she put it back up on the stand. I don't think it was quite sitting in the spot on the stand correctly. And then when she told me about it, I went upstairs to check it out. The footsteps literally caused it to fall off again, right in front of my face, before I could get close enough to catch it. And it took another tumble straight onto its face, and so it's taken 2 tumbles in the past week, and it's pretty frustrating. But it's nothing I can't fix. Nothing broke. It's just chipped paint. So I'll have to get in there and touch it up. Not a big deal. I did work on this all year. We'll get to this here in a minute. I don't remember the order of everything that happened specifically. So we're going to just kind of go random here. I got this really cool casting of a screen-used Yavin 4 medal. And I later picked up the correct military scarf. It's a British military scarf for the strap. I've not yet built the little piece to hold the strap on there yet. I'm gonna probably figure out something for that this year. I'm hoping. I can't make any promises on that. It's not a very high priority thing because I don't really have anywhere to display it properly. I have seen some people do some really cool like shadow boxes, and they display it that way, and I'm like, that's pretty tempting because it can go on the wall and it's not taking up shelf space. So I really dig that idea. The next one I want to cover, this is a big one for me. The Obi-Wan saber, specifically my balance pipe. Now this is a converted male, and it's not done yet. I did fit it onto the adapter and everything like that off camera. It had a lot of crud build up on the inside, and I know some people like to keep the crud and stuff like that, but like I literally could not fit the adapter in there. It just would not go. And I tried cutting down the adapter, and I'm just like, you know what? Nobody's gonna see this part on the inside. I'm just gonna scrape this inside real quick, knock off the excess, and then it slipped right in, no problem. So it's really the crud on the outside that I care about. But the profile that's cut for the male is just a tiny bit wrong. It needs to be kind of like notched just a little bit, and so I'll probably send that off to Scott JUA at some point and have him fix that, because this is Inconel, and I don't think I can cut Inconel on my tiny little Imco lathe because it is meant for very, very small stuff and is not very powerful, and Inconel is some tough stuff to machine from what I hear. I've never tried. Next up, the Sankara stone. Now this is one I picked up from Regal Robot. I think for the movie, this is the prop to have. It looks fantastic. It's I guess a high-res scan, and then they cast it into something that matches the color, and I think it's really cool. I don't have a great place to display it right now, but I think it's really sweet, and it's a limited run. I don't know how many they made, but this is number 93. So pretty cool little thing there. And then we're gonna go on to the hopper here. This is just a toy. The Disney parks, the whatever it's called, the Star Wars, part of it. They started offering this toy, and it's actually fairly accurate. I would say it's 90%. For a toy, it's pretty good. it's the correct size and shape. There's some details that are missing. There's some details that are a little rounded over and not as sharp and, not quite as nice. So, but I mean, there's a lot of details in here that they did get on here and they look right. Some of the wash on here is a little intense, but if you're putting it further away from you, it just kind of works, and they've got this gun is made of rubber and, so it doesn't hurt a child because it's meant to be a toy. I'm just a big kid, so I occasionally get it out and swoop it around. It's fun. But yeah, so that was a really cool little addition. I also have a studio scale model of this, and so I was actually pulling it out. I'll put a link to that video in here where I compared the pieces to this toy. But and the shapes are pretty dead on. They're the correct size. There's some panel lines that are different. There's a few little details and a few of the greeblies that are just, they're soft, because they're not model kit parts. They had to make this so they could mold it and they could pop out of the mold in a single piece. So they have to smooth some things over and fill some things in. But overall, for $50, that was a steal, in my opinion. That's a great deal. All right, this one is a big deal. This is made by, the casting was made by Frank Cerny, using Dave Jones's, that's always plural with the S. Anyway, Dave Jones's molds. He managed to get his hands on the run that Dave Jones, who worked on the original trilogy, who worked on Star Wars, he was basically pieced together a full kit of pyro parts, and was going to sell them, and then he passed away. So he had made, I think, 10 or 12 or something that he'd cast himself already. Frank was able to, I guess, pick those up along with the molds. Frank cast another 10. This is the one of the 10 that Frank cast. It was the less expensive option for me, still pretty pricey as far as a model kit goes, but it's got this provenance. It's the only one that's ever been offered that you can really get a true lineage to an ILMer and real pyro parts. There's others that have been like recast a few times, but this one is the only one that's ever been sold that I'm aware of that is split down the middle, which is how the pyros were made. All the other ones were split across this axis. Every model kit that you've ever bought of an X-Wing is split across that axis too. So this is pretty unique in that it's got the correct split for a pyro. And it's the only one I think that's ever been offered. I could be mistaken on that because, there's been, 40 some years of Star Wars since the movies were made. And so who knows, maybe someone did offer one in the past, but I'm unaware of one. All the other kits I've ever heard of have never offered it that way. And then this just has the lineage direct from an ILMer. So to me, that was a huge, huge deal and worth the price. I'm just glad I got picked because there was a limited number of spots and everything like that. So I've seen some people actually get these put together and painted, and they just turn out beautifully. And I need to put mine together, especially since I spent a lot of money on it. I feel bad that I haven't been able to touch it, really, other than pulled out and ogle at it a few times. All right, the last item that I worked on and finished was this X-Wing helmet. Oh my God, this was such an undertaking. It took me 4 years to do this project. And it's not really it just takes forever to do this. It does take some time. I probably, if I wasn't working, if I was retired and had nothing else to do and all the means and pieces on hand and necessary to finish the job, it probably would have taken me a day or two, honestly. It's a lot of work to do, but honestly, I probably, if I was under the gun, I probably could have cranked it out really, really fast. But I wanted to be meticulous and sit there and figure everything out and be proper because I wanted everything to fit correctly. And so I took my time fitting everything out, since this is like adapting a X-Wing helmet kit to a real helmet that the X-Wing helmet was based on, and then fitting all those pieces on, which don't necessarily want to fit correctly, and buying hardware for things that were not actually present, but they have to be on there to hold the thing together, and making a lot of decisions on things. And it was a collaborative effort too, because Ian's the one that commissioned this, so it was ultimately down to him. Like, this is how I want it to look. This is how I want it to be. This is okay to use here. This is not okay to use here. He really liked the original interior. I was not a fan of the original interior. It does give it like a little presence to it that I think is probably a little bit better now that I see it. But I actually liked the kit interior because it was a lot softer. When you put it on your head, it's much more comfortable than this hard styrofoam and these old ear cups that just rain black disintegrated styrofoam on your face whenever you put them on. That being said, I'm glad it's over. It was a long, long haul for this thing to get done. So that's going to be it for what I did last year. Let's now talk about 2025. Okay, so this is where I'm going to talk about what's coming up. I do think I'm going to wind up with more free time than I've had in the last year and a half to 2 years. And so I'm going to be doing some projects. They're going to be my own personal projects. They're not going to be commissions, I think. And the reason why I say that is I don't like... it's not that I don't like doing commissions. I don't mind it, but the issue with it is I can't always predict my schedule, and so something like this taking 4 years is ridiculous. And I don't love that I took so long to get this done. It shouldn't have taken that long. I think 6 months would have been okay, but 4 years is ridiculous. And so because of my current situation in life, I don't want to commit to commissions. That being said, I'm going to do little projects because I'm out of shelf space and I don't really have a good place to display things, hence my mask getting knocked off by the cats because they got in a fight and ran across my desk and knocked it over because I don't have a safe place to put it other than on my desk. So that's part of the reason. So smaller projects, things like this, where I'm going to make this and then display it somehow. If I can make this in a shadow, put it in a shadow box and put it on the wall, I think that's going to be pretty cool. I have a couple other things. I have there's a wall panel that's in the Death Star in the first film, in A New Hope. That's in the detention center, that they shoot. Not the detention center monitor. It's the little red panel with the multiple things and lights on it. And anyways, that's something I have, and that's something I can hang on the wall and doesn't take up shelf space. So that's another project I'm going to do. I'm thinking I'm also going to do a movie prop from the movie Hackers. It's the pager. There's this fluorescent yellow pager. I've located the correct pager. There's a guy who basically kind of pioneered building that prop, and he figured out, this is the font to use for the text that goes in there, and this is how to put the text in there, and all that. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's really into the Hackers props. I have this weird love for that movie. It's like this very 90s movie, and I just think it's a fun movie. I grew up in the 90s, and so it really kind of hit home for me. So I just really have a fun appreciation for that movie. It's one of those guilty pleasures where I just enjoy that movie, and it's not great cinema or anything like that. It's just fun. But it's a small thing that I could easily squeeze onto a shelf somewhere. Not that big a deal. I have a lot of really big projects. This X-Wing would be something I would love to get into, but I think because I've been taking so long on everything, build-wise, I feel like I need to get back up to speed on painting and stuff like that, even though I did a lot of painting for this. I just need to be more in practice before I tackle something as expensive and precious as this X-Wing. So I'll probably do some model kits. I have a lot of model kits. I have multiple NPC X-Wings, which I kind of have a love-hate relationship with. I have an NPC Millennium Falcon. I got a whole story about that I can tell you guys, which I'll probably make a video about. at least touch on that. And then I've got a bunch of the Bandai kits that I could put together. I have a Star Destroyer, I have TIE Fighters, I have ATST, and I've got a training remote. And I'm not talking about the kit that I think Trent is the one who put out the kit with the hovering one. That one's pretty awesome. I bought all the parts to build it from scratch way before he ever decided to put together that kit, which is frustrating to me because that's happened to me a few times where I go through the trouble of locating all the parts and then someone else comes out with a kit, which makes it so much easier. And yeah, you know, it happens. I've had that happen with the EE3. Blaster Factory came out with the EE3 like right after I built mine. I think he also came out with a bowcaster right after I got all the parts to build mine. You know, I'm a little ahead of the curve. I guess I'm collecting the parts. But so yeah, that's just a few of the projects that I think might happen. Let's now talk about what I've been busy with. Okay, so I opened my own business back in May of this last year, so May of 2024. Full time, went headfirst straight into this business. Now, opening a business is, you know, it's not like, oh, I decided to do it today, or so I'm going to open the business tomorrow. It takes months of preparation. So I would say it was over a year of me looking for a business that I wanted to, business opportunity that I wanted to pursue. And then once I did find it, then it was like, you know, 6 months of research and, you know, training. And actually what I did was a franchise. And so there's all these franchise things I had to do. I had to basically court them and they had to, you know, decide to move forward with me. Long story short, it was a long process, cost me a lot of money, took up a lot of my time. For probably a year and a half to 2 years, I would say that's basically what I've been doing, is dealing with that. Unfortunately, I've just had to close my business. It did not work out. I picked the exact wrong time to open my business because it just got slow, like crazy slow. And I know it's slow, and it's not just me. I know it's not just me because I talked to competitors of mine. The employees I had, they came from other companies that did the same thing. They talked to their friends at those other companies. They were also slow. So it's not just a me thing. It's the industry in my area was incredibly slow, and there just wasn't that much work to do. And so after 9 months, I just couldn't prop it up anymore. Just ran out of money. And so now I'm in the process of shutting that business down and looking for a job. So, which is, those two things in themselves are jobs themselves. So I'm pretty busy at the moment, but I wanted to crank out this video because I do this every year. So that's kind of what's going on. And the reason why I think I might be able to get back to more projects is because if I have just a job and I'm not 24/7 running a business and trying to make it work and survive, A, I'm going to have more time. B, my stress level is going to be way lower, so I'm going to feel more motivated to do it. You know, I have all these projects I've been collecting over the years. I mean, I have probably 40 different projects of my own that I could do. And probably half of those I have everything I need to do them. I just haven't had time. And when the rare occasions that I do have time, I don't have the motivation because I'm so tired. So I'm hoping that changes. I really want that to change because I would love to work on something. I'm like itching so bad to actually work on something and do a fun project. So here's to 2025. I'm hoping for a much better year, but so far it's been really tough. And I hope you guys all had a good time watching this video. I hope you're having a good year. I hope your year was better than mine for last year, because last year was tough for me. Anyways, that's all I got. I'll see you in the next video whenever I get around to it. Bye.